Let's study about the third of the interrogative pronoun. A speaker applies the interrogative pronoun to identify a subject or an object with an indicative word defined by a linguistic rule. The identification of a subject or an object indicates the phenomenon that the speaker recognizes the subject or the object indicated by a noun or a pronoun. When we try to think of the object indicated by a phrase of a noun, a bottle, we can imagine about the object, the speaker who was already informed about coordination between a water bottle and the object, the physical existence. The speaker who thinks of the object with the phrase of the noun bottle identifies this object with the phrase of the noun or bottle. In this point of view, the speaker who applies the interrogative pronoun in the interrogative clause to identify a subject or an object that the listeners are assumed to identify. So we can understand that the speaker intends to identify the subject or the object with the interrogative pronoun. The speaker to start the interrogative clause applies the interrogative pronoun on the premise that the number of the unrevealed subject or the object is singular. The speaker who wants to identify the subject or the object that is unrevealed assumes the number of the subject or the object as singular. But the assumption can be different. The statement of the listeners. However, the interrogative pronoun to indicate an unrevealed subject or object is able to be revealed to indicate a subject or an object whose number is more than 1. The information about the number of the subject or the object can be different with the assumption of the speaker and the response of the listeners. The first sort of the interrogative pronoun is the interrogative pronoun who. The speaker applies the interrogative pronoun who to indicate a subject or an object that is identified as a person. The speaker who has the prior information about the subject or object as a person indicates the subject or the object with the interrogative pronoun who. There are 3 clauses. Let's start from the first clause. The first clause is this. Who is this? The indicative pronoun this, described by the be verb, is indicate the subject of the clause. The subject of this clause is indicated by the indicative pronoun this, and the be verb is describes the existence of the subject this. The speaker applies the interrogative pronoun who as the subjective complement of the be verb to define the subject on a premise. The premise is the fact that the speaker already identified the subject this to indicate a person. The interrogative pronoun who as a subjective complement defines the subject this. With the fact that the speaker applies the interrogative pronoun who, we can understand that the speaker already has the information that the subject indicated by the indicative pronoun this indicates a person. The interrogative pronoun who reveals that the subject is identified as a person, and the speaker intends the person to be defined by another indication. Because the definition of the be verb reveals the context about the arrangement of the 2 indications are in a clause. The definition of the be verb reveals the existence of the subject with the primary definition. The be verb with the trait as an adverb describes the condition of the existence of the subject. So we can understand of the subject, the condition indicated by the interrogative pronoun who. This clause is stated in the second type of clause because the interrogative clause is constituted by the subjective complement who, the intransitive verb is, and the subject this. One of the responses to this question is stated. The first conference. This is your friend. The subject indicated by the interrogative pronoun who, and the interrogative clause is defined with a person that another noun friend indicates. The speaker of this clause reveals the subject indicated by the indicative pronoun this as another subject indicated by the phrase of the noun your friend. So we can understand that the indicative pronoun who in the interrogative clause indicates the phrase of the noun your friend. The phrase of the noun your friend corresponds to the interrogative pronoun who in the interrogative clause. This arrangement of the clause is able to be understood from the definition of the be verb to reveal the condition of the subject on the premise that the subject exists. We can think of the second conference of the interrogative pronoun who in the clause. This clause, which the be verb describes the existence of the subject, conveys the basic and essential intention of the speaker without the interrogative pronoun who to define the subject as a subjective complement. This clause, stated with the be verb to convey the primary definition about the existence of the subject, is stated in the first type of clause. The be verb describes the existence of the subject with the trait of an intransitive verb. The be verb describes the condition of the subject with the traits of an intransitive verb and an adverb. The subjective complement is not stated in the clause, so the be verb describes the existence of the subject. The be verb in the interrogative clause in which the interrogative pronoun is applied describes the condition of the subject on the premise that the subject exists in this clause, stated by the second type of clause. Because of the trait as an adverb of the be verb, the first clause with the interrogative pronoun who is complete, and the second type of clause and the definition of the be verb to describe the condition of the subject from the trait as an adverb of the be verb. So this clause, the second conference without the interrogative pronoun who, is complete in the first type of clause. The be verb in the interrogative clause in which the interrogative pronoun is not applied describes the existence of the subject in this clause stated by the first type of clause. With the abbreviation of the interrogative pronoun who, the speaker is able to form a clause in a complete structure. In the first type of clause,